Good morning, film students. We have an abbreviated week this week because we had our 3-day weekend. I hope you are all well and that you enjoyed it. For many of you, it was the last 3-day weekend of your high school career. Your final film due next Wednesday. I moved it a little bit to give you another weekend to work on it. Your poster design is due tomorrow, and we're approaching the end. So I have a special little thing I'd like for you to do optional. We'll go over that in a second, but first let's go over the 9 people who participated in the update last time, which was last week. Thank you, Carissa. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Kayla. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Rhiannon. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Anthony. And thank you, Amy. So what is it that I want to have you do this week? Well, I want you to obviously work on your final film, the poster. Some of you have already turned it in. We showed you the examples. And obviously your final film, which is in many cases a documentary. And so we talked about some documentary resources in the past, and we had an article about what you could focus on last week as well. But this week, if you want like an escape from thinking about this project for a bit and think about something else film related, I'm going to post this article that I read last week. Many of you may have seen that the so-called Snyder Cut of the Justice League film that came out a few years ago is going to be released on the new HBO Max streaming platform. It's named this because Zack Snyder, this guy right here, was the director of the film, but he had to leave the film and it was finished by Joss Whedon, who had directed the first 2 Avengers films. And it turned out to be a different kind of film, and it created what became a very toxic fan community online. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is to read this article, and if you're still not aware or understand what it is that the Snyder Cut means, and you know, the origin of it, and how this is all playing out, there's some links at the bottom that'll explain it, and it'll go into other different articles that explain these things, which I have here on separate tabs. I urge you, when you're reading, as usual, I mean, this is a common thing, I know you probably already know it by now, know the difference between what the article is and what is clickbait on the rest of the page. So all this stuff over here is all clickbait. What I usually do is I just blow up the main article as much as I can, and I just kind of try to stick to it. But the question I'll ask is, why have online film communities just become so toxic in this era of social media and connectivity? And I suppose you could extend that to not just online film communities, but almost every online community has its share of really not nice people, which you could say about the entirety of humanity, I suppose. But it just seems like the ability to hide behind a keyboard has given a lot of people a feeling that they have a superpower to some degree. So there's no accident that I'm asking you to write about that related to superheroes. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know. As usual, stay healthy, stay safe, stay creative, stay positive, hit like so that I know you saw this. And your films are going to turn out great. I have tremendous faith in each of you. Take care.